SCP-096 is an anomaly that attacks anyone that sees its face and becomes unstoppable when it's enraged, something which makes it very dangerous. Because of this, 096's termination is top priority. So how do we go about eliminating the Shy Guy? Will SCP-096 be destroyed if we launch it into the sun? In this video, we try to answer this question. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel with notifications on, so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And soon we are exploring more interesting SCP scenarios like this one. To begin with, let's quickly explain how we can send SCP-096 into the sun. We have two possibilities. The first scenario is to send a D-class astronaut on a mission to the sun, and then have the prisoner look at a 096 photograph just before he or she crashes into the star. Of course, this will trigger the Shy Guy. SCP-096 will perform a superhuman leap, and in the best case scenario, escape Earth's gravity and begin moving towards the sun. The D-class will perish long before the Shy Guy reaches the sun, of course, and 096 will realize that its target has been eliminated, but the Shy Guy won't be able to do anything about it. This is because SCP-096 will already be traveling in outer space, with no way of reversing or changing its speed, so it should inevitably fall into the sun's nuclear inferno and hopefully burn. The second possibility is to simplify the whole procedure and place SCP-096 directly onto a large rocket and launch the Shy Guy towards the sun. So as we see, both scenarios have their ups and downs. Starting with the second one, placing SCP-096 onto a rocket is very dangerous, because if the spaceship malfunctions and explodes during the launch, a very angry 096 would fall back down to Earth on a random location, possibly in a large and densely populated city. Also, we would need to carry SCP-096's large and heavy containment chamber into space, something which would require a massive rocket. However, we also notice that the first possibility carries a lot of uncertainty. This is because in order for it to work, SCP-096 would need to perform a superhuman jump all the way to the sun. And even though the Shy Guy is capable of running at thousands of miles per hour and can jump and reach an airplane, jumping the 93 million miles required in order to reach the sun is probably too much, even for the Shy Guy. Not to mention that should SCP-096 fail its jump, it's going to fall back down to Earth, just like in scenario 1. So in conclusion, the second scenario is better, because it's more straightforward and more likely to work. And even though crashing a spacecraft into the sun is very difficult, because you need to lose a speed of 30 kilometers per second or else you're going to miss the star entirely, the SCP Foundation possesses spaceships capable of traveling way beyond the observable universe, so this shouldn't be a problem. Alright, so we successfully launch SCP-096 into the sun's nuclear inferno. Does the Shy Guy survive? In order to answer this question, we first need to remind ourselves of SCP-096's exact properties. To begin with, the Shy Guy is self-sustaining, because it doesn't require food, water, and air. Also, SCP-096 is physically very resistant, because it survived a direct hit from an 84 anti-tank gun. It tanked hundreds of 50 caliber rounds from a machine gun without injury, and even survived a plane crash. Furthermore, during its last containment breach, SCP-096 lost all of its blood and organs, but continued attacking, totally unaffected by the damage. And finally, the Shy Guy survived a 27-hour-long fight against SCP-682, which, as we know, is one of the most powerful creatures in the wiki. And to top things off, during all these termination attempts, the Shy Guy's bone structure remained completely intact, despite of the apparent tissue damage that was inflicted. All this implies that SCP-096 is capable of regeneration and that its skeleton is physically indestructible. But let's return to the 096 versus the Sun experiment. In the official SCP Wiki, the Shy Guy has not been tested against fire, so we don't know if its bone structure is resistant to very high temperatures. And of course, the Sun is one of the hottest objects in the universe, and its surface, which is by far the coldest part of the star, has a temperature of around 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit or around 5,500 degrees Celsius, enough to melt almost anything. So if we launch SCP-096 into the Sun, its skin, tissue, and organs are definitely going to be destroyed. However, if the Shy Guy's skeleton is indestructible, which definitely appears to be the case, then 096's bone structure will withstand the Sun's immense temperatures. As such, SCP-096 will survive and end up as a constantly boiling skeleton, endlessly bathing in the Sun's immensely hot pool of plasma. So does this mean that the experiment has failed? We've spent billions of dollars launching SCP-096 into the Sun, only for it to survive. This appears to be the case, but if the Shy Guy truly is indestructible, then the best way to deal with 096 would be to somehow trap it, with no way of it returning back to Earth and attacking us. And by launching the Shy Guy into the Sun, we've created a very effective containment solution for SCP-096. This is because, contrary to popular belief, the Sun does not have a solid surface and is instead a huge ball of superheated gas. As such, SCP-096 does not have a solid surface that it can push itself off of in order to perform its famous superhuman jump. And even if it did, it would need to gain a speed of 30 km per second in order to return, something which is probably too much, even for the Shy Guy. So even if someone on Earth saw a picture of SCP-096's face after we sent the Shy Guy to the Sun, 096 would just endlessly rage in one place, flapping its arms around in an attempt to move. However, so far, we assumed that the Shy Guy is only capable of the things we've already seen it do. But we must not forget that SCP-096 is anomalous and immensely powerful, so it's definitely possible that the Shy Guy is capable of much more than just running and jumping. If SCP-096 possesses hidden capabilities that it hasn't yet utilized, for example because there hasn't been a need, then it could definitely return to Earth and retaliate. For example, some people believe that if stranded on the Sun, SCP-096 will create a wormhole and essentially teleport back to Earth, angrier and more powerful than ever. Others believe that the Shy Guy will begin moving back towards our planet with no apparent means of thrust and will accelerate to an immense speed and crash into our planet, similar to a small asteroid. And of course, depending on the speed of impact, it's definitely possible that the flaming and screaming 096 will cause tremendous damage to our planet, perhaps even destroy it. And finally, some people even believe that SCP-096 is much more capable and can not only magically move itself, but also our entire planet. In the SCP Wiki, there's a tale that describes this exact scenario. 096 is launched into the Sun, the experiment appears to be a success, and the scientists assume that the Shy Guy is eliminated. As a result, they terminate Dr. Alexei, the researcher that caused the original 096 containment breach, and finalize the SCP-096 reports. However, some researchers aren't 100% certain that they have succeeded, and they consider the possibility that SCP-096 is just swimming around in the Sun, waiting for someone on Earth to look at his picture. So they have a D-class look one last time. However, a week later they notice that Earth's orbit has begun to decay, and our planet is slowly moving closer to the Sun, where a flaming and screaming SCP-096 is patiently waiting for its revenge. So what do you think? Can SCP-096 survive the Sun? And will the Shy Guy return to Earth and cause an XK class event? Let us know in the comments. please leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content, as we have many more interesting SCP videos coming up.